right, it's always fun to do these to catch up with some of the artists that are making the music in the scene. And today I'm super excited to have George Birge on with me because, George, you are making the biggest news in the scene recently, having tons of fun. Welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and welcome to New Country 107.9 too.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, it has been a wild ride these last couple months. I'm still trying to figure out how I got here, but I'm feeling very blessed. So we're having a good time.
Well, let's start from the beginning because this isn't something new. You're not this overnight success. You didn't just find this, one day and all of a sudden, boom, everything happens. You've been working hard on this. Of course, a lot of people know you from Waterloo Revival. Tell me a little bit about how you got the start, how you got to Nashville, and where you got to where you are now. Just kind of a quick rundown.
Yeah, so it's been a 10-year overnight success for sure. I grew up in Austin, Texas, and started a band there with one of my best buddies called Waterloo Revival, and we had some mild success, signed a record deal, moved to Nashville, and kind of thought all of our dreams were coming true, and really it was an incredible chapter of my life. But kind of last year, like everybody else during the shutdown, I was just taking a minute to kind of think about where I was and where I wanted to be and what I had going on. And artistically, I was just at a spot where I was ready for something new. And I had really dug into songwriting as well and started writing a bunch of songs for other artists and getting some traction there. And, I just wasn't really happy with where I was headed creatively, music-wise. And so it was a very scary thing to do, but I asked out of my record deal with Waterloo Revival and thought at the time that I was just going to focus on songwriting. And through the songwriting chapter of my life, I had gotten to become pretty good friends with Clay Walker, who was an idol of mine when I was growing up. And I had wrote his new single that he put out this year, Need a Bar Sometimes, with him. And we had gotten to be pretty good friends. And he invited me down to his house in Galveston, Texas in December. And I was just kind of laying this all out for him and telling him I was kind of at a crossroads. I didn't know what was next. I was maybe going to hang up the artist career and just do the songwriting thing. And he looks me square in the eyes and he's like, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And I'm expecting this like profound answer, right? Like it's Clay Walker, like as a superstar, and he's been around the block. And he goes, you need to put your songs on TikTok. And I was like, I just felt very underwhelmed, should I say, by that advice. I was expecting life-changing advice, and he gave me that. But he kind of went on to explain that, you could tour for 2 years and not get in front of 1 million people. But if you put a song out there that goes viral, you can get in front of 1 million people in a day. And that made sense to me. And so I jumped on the app that night, and I clicked the country music hashtag because that's what I'm into. And the first thing I saw was this girl on there who I now know is Erin Chambers. And she was kind of lightheartedly poking fun at country music, just saying it ain't nothing but beer, trucking girls in tight jeans. And kind of my first reaction was like, yeah, you're right. And, I do like all of those things. But also the songwriter in me was kind of like, would it be funny in defensive country music if I took that and wrote a hit song out of it? And so I sat down for probably 30 minutes that night before we went to dinner, and I wrote a chorus and kind of thought that was all it was going to be. I had 6 followers at the time. I had no presence and really was, doing it more of an experiment than anything. And we went to dinner, and when I came back from dinner, the 6 followers had turned into 20,000 followers in 3 hours. And so I'm like, Clay, you're a genius. This is the best advice I ever got. And I was kind of satisfied with that being the result of it. I kind of thought that would be the end of it. But over the course of the next week, it went on to do just insane things. And there was such a demand to finish the song that when I got back to Nashville, I actually spent a day and sat down and I was like, well, if I'm going to finish this thing, I want it to be something that I'm really proud of. And so I put a lot of effort into it and created this storyline kind of highlighting the dynamic between the country and the city and these 2 fictional characters that had fallen in love but moved apart, which is all very bizarre inspiration to draw from beer, truck. But I kind of wrapped it all into a story. And now it's my brand new single. So it is too wild to be fiction, too wild to be made up. But it's been a pretty insane ride so far.
Yeah, it really is one of those stories that if you're going to tell somebody a few years down the road how this came about, they're going to be like, no, that certainly didn't work out that way. It couldn't be. I want to go back just a little bit though, because you said something that's really interesting to me. You know, a lot of people will get to crossroads. You know, you kind of hit this point where you feel like you've run out of things, you've run out of what you're doing. You know, you said you had that struggle with, you know, which direction to go, and Clay told you to go pick up TikTok and go join that direction and kind of keep at it. How tough was it to make that decision to kind of back away from something that you saw success with, and then try to go a new direction?
It was impossible. I mean, it took me like 6 months to finally muster up the courage to do it. You know, you dream your whole life about getting a record deal, and then to walk away from it, it was like, you know, especially with one of your best friends, and I still consider him one of my best friends. It was really, really hard, but I was just kind of at a time where it was like, you know, you don't get a lot of second shots in this industry, and you got to just chase opportunity when it comes. And you know, I had some bigger artists putting my songs on hold. Jason Aldean had taken one of my songs for his record. Keith Urban had taken one of my songs. I had the Clay stuff going, and I was like, okay, maybe, you know, maybe that's a bitter truth that I've got to face, that maybe I'm a songwriter and not an artist, as much as I love performing. And so, you know, this was almost like felt fated that this all like came together like it did, kind of maybe God just telling me, hey, don't hang it up just yet. There's more in store. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's one of those things I love. I think that you get an opportunity to kind of, you know, your experience while working in the song industry and in the music industry, of course, is a little different than everybody else's. But a lot of people go through that experience where you feel like there's something pulling you one direction, and maybe you're used to this thing. And that's what I love about country music. You're able to relate that back to people. And I think you'll probably do that, I'm sure, in your songwriting as you continue on. I mean, you know, as you have. But so what's it like when you're sitting there and you go to dinner and you leave with 10 followers and you come back and your phone has like, you know, 40,000 notifications on it? That's always my thing. Is like when you blow up like that, how long are you taking to clear? Do you hit that clear notification button all at once, or do you go through individually and pick them out?
I mean, if folks are going to take the time to listen to my music, I try to spend as much time as I can, like individually responding to people, because it really does mean a ton to me. When it happens like that, it's so overwhelming. You can't really get on top of it. And the other thing is, like, you know, when you had 6 followers, it doesn't matter what you post, and you really put no thought or effort into it. When you have a couple 100,000 followers, the pressure kind of increases a little bit, and I've had to be a little more thoughtful about the content I put on it.
Yeah, that's good. That's fun. It's like and I appreciate that about you too. And that's kind of the reason why we're here today. I just kind of hit you up the other day. I was walking through Target and I'm flipping through Instagram and I'm going, I really need to sit down and talk to George. I just hit you up on Instagram, and like, next thing you know, we're right here. So I love that interaction. I think that's something that's amazing for you guys as artists now, to be able to just have that one-on-one connection. That's got to be something that is different a little bit, but also kind of the same with country music, because you guys are always, you know, interacting with the fans in some way, shape, or form. Now it's just right there in your hand.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest part about the genre, is you kind of got to earn your spot. You know, you come up playing dive bars to nobody. You come up playing writers rounds where people are drinking beer and talking and not listening to anything. And so, like, once you do get foot in the door, once you do get people listening or caring, it's like you never take it for granted for a second. And it makes you want to make that connection with the fans, which is what the music's all about anyways. You know, it's just a vehicle to get you in front of these people and connecting with them and letting them take the songs and kind of internalize it their own way and tell you, you know, how they relate to them. So, I mean, it's incredibly special for sure.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. And as social media has been gotten a bad rap over the course of the last few years, of course, but I think it can bring people together, and it kind of brought you and Erin together a little bit, because you've gone down this path together with her initial kind of just having fun with it. You, of course, took it and run, but you know, it's kind of grown. How's that relationship right now? Obviously, I know you gave her some songwriting credits, which I think is awesome. Do you guys have any kind of interaction aside from that at this point?
Yeah, so I mean, even before it blew up, the day I wrote it, I reached out to her just because, you know, I'm a songwriter. I get what it means to contribute and to inspire. And so I just was like, hey, I'm probably going to write a song out of this. I'd love to give you credit. And she hit me back right away, and she loved it. But then I don't think either of us expected where it would go from there. And so, like, to be able to, you know, send her a Billboard article or a Rolling Stone article, or show her, you know, where we're getting played at country radio. We did an interview on NPR together a couple days ago, which was mind blowing. And So it's been really cool to kind of get to know her that way. And as we've talked more, I found out that she's actually an elementary school music teacher in North Carolina. So she actually does have a little bit of a music background. And she grew up listening to country music, which I feel like is why she had a right to kind of poke fun at it too.
Yeah.
But she loved the song. She's been a great sport, and we've actually gotten to talk a lot throughout this. And we still, text every time something cool happens. So I'm very thankful to have her as a part of it. And I hope it's a big hit and changes both of our lives.
Exactly. I hope I see video of you playing it in front of her elementary school kids. That's what I want to see.
I think that might happen. I think it might.
All
happen.
right. I'm not gonna break any news right here. Pull anything out of you, but just in case. I'm just saying, just throwing that idea out there. Not that I'm the first one to think of it. Man, I tell you, it is a fun story. I love the song. By the way, it's one of those songs that look. People are going to say, it's a TikTok song. No, it's not. This is a country song that you wrote that just happens to come from an inspiration driven from that. But the song itself, it fits on radio. It fits with what the current country music is doing. And it sounds like the perfect summer song to me. I mean, hats off to just writing a really good song. First of all,
thank you so much, man. That was definitely a goal when I sat down to do it, especially when I decided if I was going to finish it. So seeing people connect with it in that way, more than just, a viral sensation, I wrote it, and tried to put my best foot forward as a songwriter, just to defend country music. And, that's the genre I love, the storytelling part of it, maybe taking something as obvious as beer, truck, and flipping it on his head, maybe a hook you didn't see coming. So, that means a lot. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I think some of those songwriting, things that you guys do a lot. I know you guys in Nashville have these little songwriting quizzes, kind of where you throw some names or words in the hat and kind of pull some songs out. I think you kind of, you kind of nailed this one. I love this song. I think it's a great job. Hey, I know you're in Tulsa. I know you're busy. Do you mind doing a few quick questions real quick? We'll run through some rapid fires, see what we got for you before we let you go.
Yeah, sure thing.
All right, so these are just a few that I came up with just out of curiosity. Superhero movies or comedy movies? What you digging?
I'm a comedy guy. I love a good laugh. I love to turn my brain off when I'm off the road.
All right, you're a Texas guy, college or pro football?
I'm a Texas Longhorn fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan too, but that's a life of misery. So.
All right, this is a bit of a trick. This is a tough one for you, maybe. I don't know, live or in studio?
Live. I just love the connection that live music brings. I obviously love creating and writing, but just seeing people actually relate and connect to songs is incredible.
All right, I'm going to hit you where it hurts now. Reba or Dolly?
Dolly, no brainer. She just does so much, for her community. She's an iconic songwriter and iconic personality, and that's no disrespect to Reba. I mean, that's champagne problems right there, picking between those two, but Dolly for sure for me.
All right, other end of the spectrum, Garth or Strait?
George Strait, my namesake. My dad is named George also, but my mom jokes that I'm named after George Strait. But coming out of Texas, man, it's got to be George Strait.
I agree. All right, here's the last one for you. This is one of my favorite questions I like to ask people. What's the favorite song that you sing that isn't yours?
Oh, well, since we're on George Strait, So Good in Love. That's like probably my favorite song to cover, man. Yeah, it's a damn good song.
You can go up and down the catalog with George Strait. Just pick one.
Yeah.
You're going to be in pretty good hands.
Ones to choose from. Yeah.
You're going to be in good hands. Hey, George, man, I appreciate you taking some time. Travel safe out there in Oklahoma. Have some fun on the road, and I can't wait to see what's up next, man. I feel like there's some good things ahead.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the support, and thank you to everybody tuning in. Really means the world to me.
All right, we'll talk to you down the road, George. Thank you, man.
All right, see ya.